Hey, it's Mazzy, Whack-A-Mole, number 148. And you know what they say? Dress for success. Not the right light here. Okay, Whack-A-Mole. This is the original. This is the OG, the original gangsta. Original Whack-A-Mole, where I randomly pick 5 albums out of my collection and I share them with you. Some like these, some people don't, and that's what makes the world go round. So here we go. 1. And I can count to 5. 2. Let's do a, now I'm not looking, but this is the jazz wall. Take one from the jazz wall this time. 3. 4. 5. Yeah. Well, you know, when I was a kid, I think, you know, before I got into jazz in 1970 with Miles Davis and Bitches Brew, when I was a kid, the first jazzy guy, or there was 2 drummers that, before I got into the real jazz drummers, but like studio jazz or Buddy Rich and Gene Krupa. I mean, that's the drummers you heard about, aside from, you know, your favorite Ringo Starr or Ginger Baker or Charlie Watts or any of the bands that we knew, Dave Clark 5. But this is the exciting Gene Krupa. I found this record in a used bin. This is a Japanese 1983 pressing, as I recall. And this is on the Verve label, right? Yeah, this is a Verve Clef series. This is a mono, so it's actually a really good pressing. So a Japanese pressing on Verve. And I have my situation moved around a little bit. So, oh, the Verve story, little insert here, insert Japanese. This is a panoramic hi-fi recording. I don't really know the history of Gene Krupa. I just know he was everywhere. And like Buddy Rich, he was one of those really flashy drummers. And I first started taking drum lessons. I took them for 1 year. 1965, 1966. And I had a teacher named Art Forcade, and he taught me how to, you know, hold the drumsticks, jazz style, not this, you know, caveman style of drumming that the rock stars played in, even like Ringo, actually. I think he plays that way, don't. But it was, you know, holding like, you know, so I learned my paradiddles, flamadiddles. You see I'm pivoting here because I don't know what to say about Gene Krupa. But the point is, I would hear a lot of Gene Krupa records and watch his drum playing. I mean, just look at that face. There's a drummer's face that some drummers make. Some drummers are so cool. And then you get the people like, I can't even imagine when I used to watch Keith Moon play drums, how he would stand and do these things. And it always looked like he was miming. I think is it You Better, You Better, You Bet, that version of them in the studio, or Who Are You? One of those kind of later of the Keith Moon period. And it looks like, I think they're performing live. He's got the headphones on, and it looks like he's not even hitting the skins, but I think that's a real thing. Let's see. So anyway, I failed you here on this Whack-A-Mole. I know Gene Krupa, I know the drummer. I got this actually, I think very recently, and I haven't played it a lot. Again, it is supervised by Norman Grant's Verve Records. That's all I got to say. But anyway, it's kind of a cool record cover, isn't it? You know, Japanese, pristine. This is a live Real Gone Music issue of Tony Joe White. This is that swampy, soulful guy. I really prefer his first couple albums on, was it Warner Brothers? that are really good. It's Black and White, I believe. Swamp Annie, Fanny. What's the song? I'm losing it today. I think I'm failing this whack-a-mole. But I went through a phase a few years ago of picking up everything I can. Real Gone Music is a label that usually does the limited editions, either for Record Store Day or they only, if people like submit and sort of pre-buy, they only print, they vote on releases. They've done some great Monkees records recently, as well as a fantastic Superfly Kevin Gray cut. This is live. When was this recorded? I don't know, but it has a lot of that swamp stuff, like Rainy Night in Georgia, Mississippi River, Another Night in the Life of a Swamp Fox. Of course, that's swampy. Poke Salad Annie, that's the song I was thinking of that got a lot of notoriety at the time. But this is a cool record. Let's look and see when this is recorded. Look at that, On the Road. That's what life is on the road for swamp dogs. But Tony Joe White, in fact, since I'm here, let's see here. This is the album to get. Now, it doesn't have to be. This is a QRP. This is produced by Billy Swan. Remember, he had that hit, I Can Help. Great song. But this is an amazing sounding record. Black and White, yeah, Tony Joe White. Willie and Laura Mae Jones. It's got the second song, Soul Francisco. I mean, coming in from San Francisco, I just love that. Just the concept. I'm going to call it Soul Francisco instead of San Francisco. It's groovy and it's funky and swampy. He does a version of Wichita Lineman, the Jimmy Webb song on here as well. So I'm pivoting from this to this because this is the one. Find any version of this. Original Warner Brothers is fine. Was it Warner Reprise or something? But it's just a fantastic album and something that's probably necessary in every collection of good music. Okay, coming from Seattle or Vancouver, depending on your point of view, Heart. I remember we got a promo copy of the very first Heart album, and they really promoted the hell of that. That's when it was independent before. That was on Mushroom Records, and I think they recorded in Vancouver, British Columbia, but they were from the Pacific Northwest, and of course the Wilson sisters, and this is either their second or third album. This is 1977 when Columbia picked them up and they signed to Columbia. And the song that I just love on this record is Barracuda. You know, Coleman used to do, my buddy Coleman, the late Coleman Burke, from the famous Coma Collection fame. He used to just do this great mocking, like visual thing, because he was a guitar player and he'd go dum 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 dum, and he'd do this great visual. So every time I hear Barracuda, you know, that song, I think of Coleman Burke. And of course, I think of the old days in the 70s going to the Renaissance Fair. I mean, come on, like men in tights, women in bustiers and tights. Like, remember the Renaissance? I don't know where you are, but in Northern California, Marin County, up near, on the way to Napa, by Speedway, not Speedway Meadows, by the racing, up in Napa, there was every year the Renaissance Fair. I think I went once or twice, and I had a humanities teacher in high school early on, even before that like every summer he would be, you know, he would be the theatrical voice of the Renaissance Fair. You know what I'm talking about. So Heart, Barracuda. An autographed record. This is an EP, as I recall. Yeah, this is an EP. Not a great cover. 1010. This is Lawrence Juber. Lawrence Juber, God, lucky guy, great guitar player. He's married to a woman whose father invented Gilligan's Island. Is it Shell? It's that Jewish guy that invented all these shows in the 60s, these sitcoms. And but, okay, he's a British guitar player. He was in Wings for a very short-lived time. Good Night Tonight, Back to the Egg. What a great, I mean, I like Back to the Egg. Rockin' Record, that was when Joe English, was it Joe English on drums? No, the other guy. I'm a Beatle fan, and I totally forgot the drummer. Steve Hawley. But he was in that, so you've seen a lot of videos there. He'll probably be, more in the forefront. I do follow him on Instagram. He's been posting a lot of stuff around his short-lived time with Wings with Paul McCartney, because I believe they're going to finally do the final archive series. It hasn't been announced yet, of the 70s, the McCartney archive series with Back to the Egg and London Town. He's not on London Town, he's on Back to the Egg. But he was on that fateful tour of Japan where Paul got busted, and so it never happened, and Wings dissolved, and that was it. But we were promoting our book in 82, 83, The Beatles England, he was at the Beatle Fest as well, and I was able to, hang out with him a little bit, and I got this, and he signed it, so it's signed to Norman. Lawrence Juber, that's what Lawrence Juber looked like back in the 80s. It's got much grayer hair now. On here, let's see, it is 4 brothers, side 1, all 15 guitars overdubbed by Lawrence Juber. Dinah, vocals by Joy Yates. Massey, bass, Paul McCartney. So if you're a Beatle fan, you need this. Drums, Steve Hawley. Harmonica, Denny Lane. So it's got the Wings lineup around this time. And then it's got After You're Gone, Stormy Weather, and the Christmas song, Chestnuts. And is it colored vinyl, I think? It's not. But it's, there's a little insert here. Let's see what the insert is. The Adventures of Hope and Lawrence Juber. Hope is his wife. Oh, this is sweet. Shows them getting married and pictures. Standard Time, produced by Lawrence Juber. This is a little promo package here. So it's Standard Time, Lawrence Juber. Produced by Lawrence Juber and Richard Niles under the license of MPL Communications. So, a Lawrence Juber EP signed. And lastly, this is nice. This is a comp just from a few years ago, 2016 Sun Record comp of Howlin Wolf. I'm sure it's a digital version, but it sounds great. And of course, this period of time, these are recordings from 1951, 1952, around that time. All in the Mood, Bluebird, Drinking CV, Wine, Oh Red, My Troubles and Me, Dorothy May, produced by Sam Phillips. But of course, I have 4 or 5 Howlin Wolf comps and collections in my collection, so you need some Howlin Wolf. But this is a comp I think I got pretty cheap, and it's nothing special, nothing fancy, but it's about the music, and this is definitely some great blues music, soulful blues music, but just Howlin Wolf, baby. There you go. So that was a whack-a-mole, just an au natural. 5 picks plus a little sideshow to Tony Joe White, a little extra bonus there. Thanks for watching. Mazzy loves you. Take care.